What if I told you that wisdom isn't just found in the minds of the wise, but in the hearts of those who seek it? Or that the path to understanding is paved with more than just knowledge, but with a hunger for truth? These aren't just ancient sayings. These are life-changing insights from the Book of Wisdom. These are 5 profound truths taken from Proverbs 2. Proverbs 2 verse 6. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. The story of Samuel doesn't begin with wisdom. It begins with a mother's desperate prayer and a boy's innocent obedience. When Hannah dedicated her long-awaited son to the Lord, she couldn't have known the pivotal role he would play in Israel's history. Young Samuel, serving in the temple under Eli, heard a voice in the night, not recognizing it as the Lord's. He ran to Eli 3 times before understanding dawned. It was in that moment of confusion that Samuel uttered the words that would define his life. Speak, for your servant is listening. This wasn't just a child's curiosity, it was the first step on a journey of wisdom that would shape a nation. As Samuel grew, so did his reputation. The Bible tells us that the Lord was with him and let none of his words fall to the ground. People from Dan to Beersheba recognized him as a prophet of the Lord. But wisdom isn't just about having the right answers. It's about asking the right questions. When the elders of Israel demanded a king, Samuel was displeased. He knew the dangers of human monarchy, the potential for corruption and oppression. Yet he didn't rely solely on his own understanding. He turned to the Lord in prayer, seeking wisdom beyond his own experience. The Lord's response: listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king. Here we see wisdom in action. Samuel, despite his personal feelings, heeded the voice of God and the will of the people. He anointed Saul as king, but not without warning the people of the consequences of their choice. This brings us to our next proverb, Proverbs 2, verses 10 and 11. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you. Consider the story of Abigail, the wife of Nabal. When her foolish husband insulted David and his men, putting their entire household in danger, Abigail acted with swift discretion. Without telling Nabal, she prepared an abundance of provisions and went to meet David. Her words were carefully chosen, acknowledging David's anointed status while gently turning him from his path of vengeance. Please forgive your servant's presumption, she said. The Lord your God will certainly make a lasting dynasty for my Lord, because you fight the Lord's battles, and no wrongdoing will be found in you as long as you live. Her wisdom not only saved her household, but also kept David from participating in more bloodshed. When Nabal later died of natural causes, David recognized God's hand in the matter and took Abigail as his wife. This story illustrates how wisdom, discretion, and understanding work together to protect us from folly and guide us. But wisdom isn't just about avoiding danger, it's about actively pursuing what is good and right. Proverbs 2, verse 20. Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous. The life of Ruth exemplifies this principle. As a Moabite widow, Ruth had every reason to return to her people when her Israelite husband died. Instead, she chose to follow her mother-in-law Naomi back to Bethlehem, embracing not just a new land but a new faith. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay, Ruth declared. Your people will be my people and your God my God. This decision, born of loyalty and faith, led Ruth down a path she could never have anticipated. Through her diligence in gleaning the fields and her obedience to Naomi's instructions, she caught the attention of Boaz, a wealthy relative of her late husband. Boaz, recognizing Ruth's virtue, acted as her kinsman redeemer, marrying her and securing her place in Israelite society. Little did they know that their union would produce a line that would lead to King David and ultimately to Jesus Christ. Ruth's story teaches us that wisdom often requires us to step out in faith, to choose the path of righteousness even when the future is uncertain. But what about when the path isn't clear? When the choices before us seem equally valid or equally troubling? Proverbs 2 verses 3 to 5 offers guidance. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for a hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. The prophet Elijah faced such a moment of uncertainty on Mount Horeb. Fleeing from Jezebel's wrath, discouraged and ready to die, Elijah waited for a word from the Lord. But God's wisdom doesn't always come in the ways we expect. The Lord passed by, and a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. It was in that still, small voice that Elijah found the wisdom and courage to continue his mission. God gave him specific instructions, including the anointing of his successor. This story reminds us that seeking wisdom requires patience and attentiveness. Sometimes, the answers we seek come not in grand revelations, but in quiet moments of reflection and obedience. Proverbs 2, verses 7 and 8 assures us, He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Consider the life of Joseph. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, Joseph could have easily succumbed to bitterness and despair. Instead, he consistently chose integrity and faithfulness, trusting in God's plan even when he couldn't see it. His wisdom and discernment, gifts from God, enabled him to interpret Pharaoh's dreams and implement a strategy that saved Egypt and the surrounding regions from famine. When reunited with his brothers years later, Joseph demonstrated the ultimate wisdom. "Forgiveness, you intended to harm me," he told them, "but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's story illustrates how wisdom, coupled with faithfulness, can turn even the darkest circumstances into opportunities for God's glory. But wisdom isn't just for the great heroes of faith. It's a gift offered to all who seek it. Proverbs 2 verses 1, 2, and 5 exhorts us, "My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." This invitation to wisdom echoes through the ages, calling us to a life of discernment, righteousness, and understanding. It's not a passive reception of knowledge, but an active pursuit of God's truth. As we reflect on these stories, Samuel's listening ear, Abigail's quick thinking, Ruth's faithful choice, Elijah's quiet revelation, and Joseph's steadfast integrity, we're reminded that wisdom is more than mere intelligence. It's a way of life, a continual turning toward God and his ways. In a world that often values quick fixes and easy answers, the book of Proverbs challenges us to dig deeper, to seek understanding as we would search for hidden treasure. It promises that when we do, we'll find more than we ever imagined, the knowledge of God himself. So let us heed this ancient call to wisdom. Let us turn our ears to understanding, apply our hearts to insight, and walk in the ways of the good and righteous. For in doing so, we'll find not just success or safety, but the very purpose for which we were created, to know God and to make him known.